I am Napoleon Hill, and after studying thousands of men and women over many decades, I discovered a truth so simple yet so devastating that most people never confront it. The majority of people fail in life because they never learn how to control their own thoughts. They attempt to control circumstances, other people, luck, the economy, and even fate, but they never master the one thing that determines all outcomes, their mind. Thought control is not taught in schools, rarely discussed in homes, and almost never practiced consciously. As a result, most people live their entire lives reacting instead of directing, drifting instead of deciding. The first reason most people fail to control their thoughts is because they do not realize that thoughts are forces. They treat thoughts as harmless, temporary ideas, not understanding that every repeated thought leaves an impression on the subconscious mind. A thought held long enough becomes a belief. A belief influences behavior. Behavior produces results. People see the results and call it luck or destiny, never realizing that the process began quietly in their own thinking. Until a person accepts full responsibility for their thoughts, they will never gain control over their life. Another reason people fail to control their thoughts is mental laziness. Thinking deliberately requires effort. It is easier to let the mind wander, to follow emotional impulses, to react to external events without analysis. The undisciplined mind takes the path of least resistance, and that path usually leads to fear, doubt, worry, and excuse-making. Controlled thinking requires conscious direction. It requires asking questions instead of accepting assumptions. Most people avoid this effort, and the price they pay is a life shaped by unconscious habits. Fear is another powerful reason people lose control of their thoughts. Fear weakens the ability to think clearly. It magnifies imaginary dangers and minimizes personal strength. When fear enters the mind, it crowds out logic, creativity, and courage. Most people do not challenge their fears, they accept them as facts. Fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of poverty, fear of rejection, these fears become permanent residents in the mind because they are never questioned or replaced. The mind cannot focus on achievement while it is occupied with fear. Negative environment also plays a major role. From childhood, most people are surrounded by discouraging suggestions. They hear what cannot be done more often than what can. They absorb the limitations of parents, teachers, friends, and society without resistance. These suggestions enter the subconscious mind and become automatic thoughts. By the time a person reaches adulthood, their thinking is often conditioned by years of limitation. Without conscious effort, they simply replay borrowed thoughts that were never their own. Another reason people fail to control their thoughts is the absence of a definite purpose. A mind without a clear aim is easily influenced. When you do not know what you want, any thought feels acceptable. Purpose gives direction to thought. Without it, the mind becomes a playground for distractions, worries, and random ideas. People who drift mentally are easily overwhelmed because they have no central objective to measure their thoughts against. Purpose acts as a filter. Without it, everything enters. Emotional attachment to past experiences also weakens thought control. Many people relive old failures, betrayals, mistakes, and disappointments repeatedly in their imagination. Each replay strengthens the emotional charge attached to the memory. Instead of using the past as a lesson, they allow it to dominate their present thinking. The disciplined mind extracts wisdom from experience and then releases it. The undisciplined mind becomes trapped by it. You cannot control your future thoughts while clinging emotionally to yesterday's pain. Another silent enemy of thought control is constant distraction. Modern life bombards the mind with noise, information, opinions, and stimulation. When the mind is constantly pulled in different directions, it loses the ability to concentrate. Concentration is essential for controlled thinking. Without it, thoughts remain shallow and scattered. Most people mistake busyness for productivity, not realizing that mental clarity is impossible without periods of focused attention. People also fail to control their thoughts because they confuse emotion with truth. Just because a thought feels strong does not mean it is accurate. The mind often reacts emotionally before reasoning logically. When emotion is allowed to dominate thought, judgment becomes distorted. The disciplined thinker observes emotion without surrendering to it. They pause, analyze, and choose their response. The undisciplined thinker reacts instantly and then lives with the consequences. Lack of self-confidence is another cause. When a person does not trust their ability to think independently, they rely on the opinions of others. They surrender their thinking authority to the crowd. Popular opinion becomes more powerful than personal conviction. This is why most people follow trends rather than principles. They allow external voices to decide what they believe, what they fear, and what they attempt. Independent thought requires confidence, and confidence is built through practice, not inheritance. Another reason people fail to control their thoughts is because they never train the subconscious mind intentionally. The subconscious does not judge, it accepts whatever is impressed upon it repeatedly. If you do not consciously feed it constructive thoughts, it will accept destructive ones automatically. Autosuggestion is not optional, it is always operating. The question is whether it is working for you or against you. Most people leave this process unmanaged, and the result is mental chaos. Procrastination also reflects poor thought control. When a person delays necessary action, it is because discomfort has overridden purpose. The thought of effort becomes more powerful than the thought of reward. Over time, procrastination becomes a habit, and the mind becomes trained to avoid decisive thinking. Action strengthens thought control. Inaction weakens it. Every time you act decisively, you reinforce mental authority. Another factor is the misunderstanding of discipline. Many people believe discipline is punishment or restriction. In reality, discipline is freedom. Mental discipline allows you to choose your thoughts instead of being controlled by them. It allows you to think clearly under pressure. Without discipline, the mind is pulled in every direction by impulse and emotion. Most people resist discipline because they do not understand its power. Failure to practice reflection is another cause. Few people spend time thinking deliberately about their own thinking. They do not examine their beliefs, question their assumptions, or analyze their reactions. Self-awareness is essential for thought control. You cannot change what you do not observe. The disciplined mind regularly reviews its patterns and makes corrections. Ultimately, most people fail to control their thoughts because they underestimate the importance of doing so. They chase money, status, and recognition without realizing that none of these can be sustained without mental mastery. The mind is the starting point of all success and all failure. Until a person accepts this truth and begins to practice conscious thought control daily, their results will remain inconsistent. The good news is that thought control can be learned. It begins with awareness, strengthened by repetition, and sustained by purpose. Each time you choose focus over distraction, courage over fear, and intention over impulse, you strengthen your mental authority. Control your thoughts, and you control the direction of your life. Fail to control them, and life will control you. The choice is always yours.